Welcome to this edition of Roll the Level Real Talk. My name is Matt. With me is my good friend Sarah. How you doing?
I'm great.
You're doing great. All right. It is National Cereal Day, so that works too. Did you forget?
Oh, I didn't know.
Oh my word! I mean, how could you not know? There's a national holiday every day now.
I would have
so.
ate Reese's Puffs all day.
Oh, there you go. See, I'm more of a cinnamon toast crunch Lucky Charms
Oh,
guy.
that's my top 5.
Yeah, I combine those together actually as a meal. That's
I
really
miss French Toast Crunch.
good. Right? Yeah, French toast crunch is
That
really
was a good one.
I
Where
agree.
did that go?
I don't know. There's so many good cereals that went away,
I
but
know.
anyway, that's not actually what we want to talk about today. But cereal is good,
Oh.
so it's awesome. But actually, what we did want to talk about, I mean, for the people watching this, I mean, you've heard about all the controversy that's going on right now with all the the different shootings and violence and all those things. And one of the things from the gamer's perspective that we've seen come up, and actually, there's a big meeting on, I guess, for us this coming Thursday,
Right.
depending on when you're watching this, where they're going to have this discussion of violence in video games.
Yes. It's happened many times before.
Yeah, it
but-
has. Yeah, like we're just coming back around to a very long and in many ways old conversation, I think, of violence in video games being the source of all evils. And
Yes. It's an easy blame target.
it is, and that's something we kind of want to talk a little bit about. Because don't get me wrong, there's definitely some very violent video games. As a
Oh,
game
yeah.
reviewer, I've spent a lot of time with games, and I'm going, some of these I'm going, I'm uncomfortable. And there's been a few games where I've even gone back to my editor and said, I'm not doing this game. Like,
Right.
I will pay for this game, but I'm not doing this game. And graciously, my editors have always been awesome about that
Nice,
stuff.
that's
But
good.
so there's definitely, there is this issue of violence in video games. But I think the trend that I'm seeing, and again, I want your opinion on this, is I'm seeing, like, we're looking for a scapegoat that's going to make everything go away.
Yeah.
As a culture, it's like we want something to blame everything on. And again, right now, it's coming back around to that age-old conversation.
Yeah, it's like
And
when the ERCRB was made, and it's like, we need this system, and then we're supposed to be
yes.
self-regulated, and
Yeah.
all that kind of stuff.
But like, what are your thoughts on this? Like, this whole idea of let's just slap a name on on this thing, make it the evil of all evils, try to regulate that, and magically everything goes away. And maybe I'm painting I'm
It's
painting a
broad.
really, I'm painting a really bad picture, but and my opinion's coming out on that. But I think, I don't know, what are your thoughts on this whole topic that's happened over the last week?
Man, I don't think there's a quick fix whatsoever. Like, I see why it gets all the blame.
Yeah.
Because it's the one medium that we control.
Mhm.
Like, we are pressing the button to shoot the gun. It's
Yeah,
not like the
yeah.
movies or something there where we're watching somebody do it. We are doing it.
Mhm.
So I see why people think that way. But, like, personally, I'm not affected by violence in video games. I'm like,
Mhm.
it's not real. I don't really care. I don't get that invested, so whatever.
Yeah.
But I've seen in other people,
Hmm?
like in my life, they shouldn't be playing violent video games because, or like even kids in that matter.
Yeah.
Like,
Oh, yeah. Absolutely.
but
yeah.
like my husband, for example, he has broken a couple controllers over, like,
Yeah. I understand
or
that.
made
Yeah.
like holes in walls. Like, he gets violent when something goes wrong, like in COD or something,
Mhm.
or people send you like evil messages. Like, it causes violence.
Mm.
But like in the video game sense, those kind of games bring out kind of the worst in people, I find sometimes.
Mhm.
So that's why I just avoid those video games
Yeah.
in general.
Yeah. Absolutely.
But as a parent too, watching my kid even watch TV with violence, like his favorite show right now is Teen Titans.
Mm.
He's obsessed with Teen
Teen
Titans.
Titans. Good stuff.
But I would never let him play a video game that, like a fighting game right now or anything with guns, because he would just go around pretending.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I don't need
Yeah.
anybody to do that.
Yeah, absolutely. No, totally understood.
But I see why, again, that it gets the finger pointed at it.
Mhm.
But there has to be a better, like, it's a personal thing. Like, if you watch somebody that you think shouldn't be playing them,
Mm-hmm.
you have to do something about it.
Mhm.
Because you, like, their tendencies, you'll see it. Like the shooting recently, I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
They said that he was a bad guy before all this happened.
Yeah.
So they saw tendencies and nothing happened. That was the problem.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't that he played the violent video games. It was that he had all these tendencies beforehand. And people can have all the tendencies there.
Yeah.
So you have to be aware.
Yeah, no, I would agree. I mean, I do agree that there are cases where, things like video games or even music or any medium can fuel existing, things that are going on in people, which is why, coming back to what you're talking about, even with your little guy, it is so important that that we get beyond the discussion of just violence in video games. Don't worry wrong, there is a discussion there, but get into this discussion of how are we treating one another.
Yeah.
Because I think that's a far more important discussion to be having. A far, that is a topic that, if we actually started there and engaged there, a lot of these other things, I think the conversation would be a lot different. But we don't address the core issue of how we treat one another as human beings.
No.
And honestly, I don't think that just addressing this issue of violence in video games in and of itself is going to fix anything. No. You can slap whatever taxes, tariffs, whatever you want to call it on it. But at the end of the day, that's not the core issue.
No.
Don't get me wrong. There's absolutely a conversation there. There, even with my kids, like we're very intense about the games they play, and being a gamer, it's like, oh, I want you to try all these things.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it's like, well, no, you're not at a place in your life, maturity-wise, or even developmentally, where that is good for you. And so we're gonna step away from something like that, and we're gonna learn instead how do we treat each other on a daily basis and things like that. But until we're ready and willing to have those conversations of how do we treat one another, and I mean that hits some pretty heavy notes. That's like, that's getting into racism and bigotry and all sorts of isms.
Yeah. There's a list.
But that's really the core conversation.
Yeah.
As a Christ follower too, that's what it comes back to, is how am I treating other people, right? I mean, God has created us all from my understanding of Scripture. God has made us all, and He loves all of us, and we have a responsibility as Christ followers to share that love with others.
Yep.
And if I'm
your
not,
neighbors.
yeah, exactly, love your neighbors.
Enemies.
Yeah, exactly, right. But if I'm not willing to even have that conversation, instead I'm going to try to point it at something else. I mean, that's putting that's a Band-Aid on an internal bleed. Like, it doesn't make sense. No. Without proper context. Is there room for that conversation of violence in video games? Absolutely. I think that's important. But I don't think that's not the fix-all.
There's no quick fix.
No, there isn't.
It's an overtime. Like, these games are obviously going to keep being made.
Mm-hmm.
They, mature-rated games, even, some pretty violent stuff can get into teen-rated games nowadays.
Yes, I would agree. Yeah, absolutely.
So, those are the top-selling games. Like, E-rated games are, down at the bottom. Yeah, so they're going to keep putting violence in because people keep buying it. Mm-hmm. And then, if people keep using it as an outlet in the wrong way, it is going to keep happening.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like, people are going to keep pointing at us. It's just like, it's not all of us.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Well, again, it's that blanket statement, right? It's like, it's the same, it's almost like it's you're painting with a wide brush stroke. And that's no different than saying that anybody that owns a gun is like these people that are around shooting and stuff. And that's just not the case, but it's so easy to fall into that.
He played GTA when he was 5.
Right, exactly. Therefore, but we have to be careful that we don't just start blanket brush stroking everything, but instead are willing to look at this conversation of how are we actually viewing and treating one another. Yeah. Because
that can bring out the worst in us.
Oh, it does. I mean, history tells us that, right? The reality is we've had violence a lot longer than video games.
Oh, for
sure. so I think there's a deeper conversation that needs to be had. I wish I had a simple fix for it all. I really do wish I could just drop out a plan that says here, outside of honestly saying, you need Jesus. I don't have a fix. We need Christ in our lives. We need Christ in the world, and ultimately that is a fix. But that requires us who have Christ in us to engage in the world. Yeah. Right? Like, I'm not talking about this just, we'll get Jesus, it'll be all right. There is way more to it than that. Yeah. Because we have to engage with the culture we live in as Christ followers and show what it looks like, an example of what it looks like to have Christ in our lives.
That's why I love streaming, though. Yeah. Because, I don't watch a lot of streamers because of swearing, because of their content and stuff like that. I want to be a streamer or somebody that goes the Christian lifestyle. Like, when I'm doing something, that's the lifestyle I live. Yeah. And then if people could just understand, and it would be great. Yeah, absolutely. Because there's so many times I just get random messages and stuff like that, just like, I just played one match with you and you hate me, and it's like, we don't need to be like that to each other. It's awful.
Absolutely. And again, that's a symptom of a much deeper rooted issue, and until we're willing to, as human beings, come to the table and have those conversations, we're just going to keep circling. We're just going to keep addressing surface issue stuff. Yep. and we're never going to get down to the roots. Yeah, that's it, right? And so, but anyway, that's our thoughts on it. This is not an easy conversation. This is not a quick fix conversation, but I think it is something worth having dialogue about.
Yeah.
You know, and I know we'll continue to have this conversation, but we invite you guys too to have this with us. Again, we're not claiming to have all the answers. We definitely don't.
Well, Jesus is the answer.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. But even in that, you know, the reality is that we need to be willing to have these conversations, and I guess that's what this video is really about, is just saying,
opening up a conversation.
Let's have that conversation. Let's look at that.
Because everybody has their own personal experiences with it.
They do, and that's, we've got to start somewhere.
Yep.
To me, it makes more sense to start at the core issue, but anyway,
let's work our way out.
Yeah, exactly, right? Exactly. But anyway, this one's a little heavier than normal, but we still thank you so much for watching this episode of Real Talk. And, you know, check us out every Wednesday. We usually record this, so then I drop it the next week. And then Wednesday nights we stream as well. So be sure to join us for the stream as well.
For sure.
So thanks so much for watching this episode of Real Talk.